Hi, my name is Emmanuel Akandwanho, and I was happy to be one of the top 8 selected for the Youth for Policy Innovation Fellowship in partnership with KAS and StartHub Uganda. Yeah, I think one of the most important things or highlight for me through the fellowship was I had no clear understanding of what's the relevance of policy and how is it of an advantage to a nation or even to people at large. So through the program, I was able to have an in-depth understanding of how policy is something that is crafted by the government to be able to have an impact on the people. So through that, I was able to appreciate why we have existing policies and why I should actually be actively involved in understanding the policies that govern the country. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about policies and improving my skills in policy writing. Yeah, I think one particular moment was still during at the initial stages, going through with one of our specific trainers, that was Alexandria, explaining to us how we can break down our policy paper. But also interestingly, it was also good to know how a policy paper relates more to a research paper. As a person who had experience writing a research proposal, I realized there's not so much difference with how you structure a policy paper. It's just the language and maybe the format, looking at the context or even the purpose of why you're doing it informs you on what kind of, I could say, sections you need to have in a policy paper that makes it different from a policy paper. So to me, that was my key highlights during the fellowship period. During my fellowship and while writing my policy paper, the first challenge I got was with having a specific mentor. And I noticed that there was a need to have both an industrial and a technical mentor. The reason being is when you're writing a policy paper, you might find for you to get advice, you might need someone to give you insight on what are the challenges that specific sector or industry trying to work on or research about, to get insight on the challenges they're facing or even the policies that are existing, what gaps are already there. And then when you look at a technical mentor, you want someone who's going to review your paper now and then just to critique and make sure you have the best quality. And as someone who was also very critical on making sure I have the best quality work, it was really keen for me to make sure I have a good technical mentor. So that was to me was a challenge. Maybe it can be improved on the next fellowship. And also I think a second one was on access to interviewers. So for example, my research was more qualitative. So that meant I had to do interviews with different stakeholders to get their feedback on my policy paper. However, getting these people was quite challenging. Based on their schedules, these were very engaged people because you're looking at high-level stakeholders. So it was a big challenge. So maybe looking forward is maybe on the fellowship how it can be able to advocate for the fellows to be able to access these people. Maybe through KAS they can be able to get these people on board without the fellow directly reaching out to them. Having gone through the whole thing, no matter how challenging was it, my whole goal was to make sure I get done with it. And interestingly, towards the end, it was interesting to find the things that I was able to discover interested me. So I'm really looking forward to share my findings through social media that may interest different people who may pick interest. Yeah, and also interestingly, one of my topics that I was researching about happened to be a project that is being undertaken through my workplace. So I'm looking forward to using my findings to see how I can boost their work that they do. But also it was also interesting overall to see that there's a gap for policy researchers in Uganda specifically that can be able to push the policy papers forward. Yeah, so thank you very much.